I'd like to thank OCL for inviting me to be present here and give a breakup or update of the work that is ongoing with us. We are focused primarily in the area of natural rubber. And as you know, natural rubber is a unique material which is more than 100 years as a commercial polymer, and it has faced the challenges that synthetic rubbers have thrown to us over the years, and it continues to prosper and grow, as I'll show you. The important thing about natural rubber is that over 90% of the natural rubber is produced by small farmers who have less than a couple of hectares of land. And yet this product goes into the most sophisticated of applications, ranging from medical devices inside the body, stents, it goes into aviation tires, it goes into space applications. So here you have a material produced by millions of farmers which aggregates and comes into the market as a sophisticated raw material. And we face new challenges all the time as you know, synthetic rubbers come in with specific properties, so we then have to tailor-make our natural rubber to meet those challenges. So just to give you an idea of the scope of the natural rubber market, there's today a production of about 26.5 million tons of natural and synthetic elastomers, and a consumption is approximately balanced with the production. Production of natural rubber out of this 25 million tons is 12.3 million tons, and the consumption is about 12.5 million tons. So it's again in balance, and roughly you can see that about 40% of all, little over 40% of the total elastomers consumed are natural rubber. There was a time in the 1960s and 70s when natural rubber dropped to about 30% of total consumption, but we've been able to come back into major segments such as the tire industry and continue to be an essential part of that industry. And today, with the sustainability and environmental concerns, the advantage that natural rubber has over synthetic rubber, it's a uniquely sustainable material. 1 hectare of natural rubber absorbs 30 metric tons of carbon dioxide per annum. So that's the sort of material that we are talking about. Then coming to the third segment, the segment of the natural rubber industry is the liquid portion of it, what we call the latex industry, natural rubber latex, which is roughly about 1.3 million tons production. 1.6 million tons was the last known consumption of natural rubber latex, which goes into a whole lot of separate products, separate from. The dry rubber segment is dominated by the tire sector, which accounts for roughly 60% of the natural rubber. But out of the balance, the major segment, about 11 to 12%, is products made from latex in the liquid. It's a liquid processing technology. So you can see that natural rubber production has grown about 3% in the last 6 years. Latex production about 6%. Natural rubber consumption about 3%, and latex production consumption has gone up about 4%. So there's been continuous growth in the market, in the product production and consumption of latex in the past decade, ever year. So these are the types of natural rubber lattices that are available in the market today. We have the standard, which is a 60% concentrate of latex. We have that's a centrifuge latex. We have a cream latex, which is by a process of creaming of the latex. We have grafted natural rubber, where we graft natural rubber with various monomers. The commercially available one, most popular, is where we graft methyl methacrylate onto natural rubber, onto the natural rubber backbone, and it's got applications and adhesives and stiffeners, binders, etc. The area that we have been concentrating a lot in our work has been pre-vulcanized latex. We have the unique ability to pre-vulcanize, cross-link the rubber in the liquid form itself and deliver it to the end user in a ready-to-use form, that all he then needs to do is to maybe add some specialty materials and then form it using dipping, casting, extrusion, or whatever techniques that they have to use. We have also reverse charge lattices, where we have natural rubber is an anionic lattice, but we have the process of converting it into cationic lattices. And that's useful where we are working with different substrates. We want better adhesion, so we have the use of available cationic natural rubber lattices. And then there is the evaporated lattices, where we spray the latex and we vacuum evaporate it and we raise the concentration from the average level of about 60%. We can go as high as 74% for solid material. On the right-hand side, I've just shown you the popular synthetic lattices that are available in the market today. The SBRs go mainly into the carpet packing and paper industry. Nitrile, of course, comes very strongly into those segments of the natural rubber latex industry, and of course have taken over a large segment of the glove industry in recent years. Polychloroprene specialty, again in various applications, adhesives, acrylic lattices, polyisoprene, isoprene, butyl latex, and polyurethane latex. So these are the synthetic lattices that are commonly available. And this is just a spectrum of the applications, which you can look at later. So if you see, the focus of the industry has really shifted in the last 15 to 20 years into Asia, so that you have, production is now 96% of natural rubber is produced in Asia, and consumption, 88% of consumption of latex is in Asia. Of course, those products are then coming into the rest of the world. And you can see that the growth in Asia has been at about 4.5% to 5%. So you can see that the share of Asia in the consumption, or conversion, I would like to say, of natural rubber latex into products is in Asia, and those products are being sold all over the world. These are some of the principal products that we make out of natural rubber. Gloves today are over nearly about 300 billion pieces of gloves are made annually, and there are various types of gloves: medical, diagnostic, non-medical, and then specialty gloves made from natural rubber. Contraceptives, male and female contraceptives, medical devices such as Foley's catheters, stents, various types of straight catheters. Balloons, toy balloons is a big, there's more than 15 billion pieces of balloons made annually, for not only as a toy but also for various party events. So globally, the toy balloon industry has a very strong growth. Specialty segment of that is the weather balloons. Daily, thousands of weather balloons are let out throughout the world, and these operate at different altitudes. You've got low, medium, and high altitude weather balloons which go up, and we'll talk about that briefly later. Rubber threads, elastics, that's another important thing. And this just gives you the segmentation of the market as it is today. Malaysia has been the leading producer of latex products from the 1990s, and today it roughly converts about 500,000 tons of latex into end products, and the other major producers of end products are from Thailand, China, India. These are the other major converters of latex into end products. So you have, just looking at the mix that are within the glove sector itself, you've got various types of powder-free gloves, nitrile gloves, which is about 32% overall, powdered latex gloves, then vinyl gloves, surgical gloves, and then TPE, CPE gloves. So these are the sort of the product mix of a typical latex glove company today. So that just gives you an overall background of the latex industry, natural rubber latex industry as it is today. And it is in this industry that we see an opportunity for single wall carbon nanotube, not only to enhance the products and properties here, but also to be able to go into the main dry rubber segment, as our earlier speaker was saying. They are using the latex route to get into the products, dry rubber product sector, tires, and the same way we see that natural rubber latex can be a vehicle to introduce it into the tire industry, because the properties that it gives are good and it is a naturally sustainable material. So we have a program, IRMRA, with which I am associated with, the Indian Rubber Manufacturers Research Association. We have a state-of-the-art tire testing facility. We test tires from all the major tire companies, Michelin, Goodyear, Bridgestone, and they're all interested in getting treads and sidewalls and carcasses with CNT incorporated, so that we can study conductivity properties, noise properties, the heat dissipation properties have a tremendous impact on the wear and the grip characteristics of rubber, of tires. So we see that as a further step in this process. When we get the field latex, it comes in as field latex, and you can see the first curve on the left gives a sort of distribution of the particle size, which can be from 0.2 to 0.8 microns. And then when we centrifuge it, we throw out a large segment, some segment of the smaller particles, and so the average particle size distribution goes up to about 0.3 to 0.4 microns. We do have processes, particularly pressure homogenization, where we can pass it through a pressure homogenizer and bring the particle size distribution back into a narrower and a lower range. So this is one of the particles can be broken down, stabilized at much lower particle sizes for certain applications. So this just shows you the fresh field latex and a centrifuge latex. So the benefits of diversity in particle size, of course, is that we get very good packing, better than spherical packing. So the permeability characteristics are better. The impermeability characteristics are better because of the better packing of the latex particles as it dries down into film. So here I've got just to TEM one of the unvulcanized natural rubber, and the image provided by Oxiel of CNT. You see sort of a similarity in a way of the two of them. This is some 10 photographs that we took at our research center in the UK called Tun Abdul Razak Research Center, and this is the latex which has been already vulcanized. That is, we have different grades of latex with different levels of tensile and modulus properties and other physical characteristics. So here we've got you will see that there are two types. The one on the left is what we call a medium modulus latex, and this is a high modulus latex. Now, a medium modulus latex goes into applications such as gloves and balloons. Actually, a low modulus goes into balloons. It's easier to blow. So this would go into gloves, and the high modulus goes into contraceptives, condoms. It goes into elastic thread. So according to the use, we tailor make it broadly in 3 grades of low modulus, medium modulus, and high modulus. And within this, we tailor make it to products, specific products. And our challenge is to introduce the CNT into this matrix. In the pre-vulcanization process, we are adding, in the aqueous phase, sulfur accelerators, activators, and incorporating it into the latex. So, as you know, you have the Brownian motion, and so you have the constant collision of the particles, and we have the absorption of these chemicals which are predispersed with dispersion into the latex particle. And once it gets into the latex particle, these are low temperature, and we can do it at ambient temperature, room temperature curing systems, or we can have high temperature curing systems. We have in pre-vulcanized latex both the cold cure, which is room temperature curing systems, and we have the high temperature curing systems where we cure at temperatures about 80 to 100, where we cross-link the particles as you see. So here we have the stabilization of the particle, we have the surfactants, we have naturally occurring surfactants in natural rubber, and you will find that when we first centrifuge the latex from the field latex, where we are raising the concentration from 40% to 60%, we find that the mechanical stability of the latex drops to about 200 seconds. And then over time, over a period of 3 weeks, the mechanical stability rises to almost 4 to 5 times the original value. Because what happens is that there's a hydrolysis of various non-rubbers like the lipids, etc. And these form higher fatty acids which take over the role of stabilization or long-term stabilization of the latex. So our stabilization systems for dispersions must be compatible with these stabilization, with the naturally occurring stabilization systems. So we have two types of action here. We are looking at the intra-particle penetration of the chemicals and also of the CNT, and we are looking at the interparticle reactions between the particles as the film dries down. So it's important that in dry rubber, carbon black reinforcement is due to the formation of structures, bridges, which are agglomerates, which give you a mechanochemical crosslink in addition to the purely chemical crosslink. It's the same principle that we are trying to create here, where the agglomerates act as bridges between the entanglements of the natural rubber particle. Natural rubber has a very high molecular weight of, I think it's about 1.5 million, much higher than most normal elastomers. So these are all long chain, very long chain cis polyisoprene molecules. So when we cure it, we can see that we do get a parallel curing of the what we put this called, we measure the toluene swell index, and as the cure progresses within the molecule, the swelling of the particles reduces, and that swelling is measured, and it gives us an indication of the cross-linking that is taking place within the latex particles. And we find that when we did with tubol, we got a final kick with the tubol, giving it a slightly better cross-link density in this particular high modulus PV latex that we are working on. We have further improved on this. When we pass it through our pressure homogenizer, we get a much more significant improvement in the cross-link densities. So we have various methodologies for incorporating the carbon nanotube into latex. We could do it directly into the fresh latex and provide it. We can do it into latex where the vulcanization is done by the party, by the customer, or we can give it pre-vulcanized so that he can use it straight away. And in pre-vulcanized, we have two options. We can add the CNT before we pre-vulcanize, or we can add the CNT after we pre-vulcanize. And we will talk about that in the. We studied this in some different CNTs. When we added the CNT after vulcanization, after the pre-vulcanization was added, we added the CNT. We did not get any significant improvement in the properties when we did that. And we found that depending upon the method of casting the film, of making the film, we found that the dipped film, where you use a coagulant and then later when you make a film or you make a product, you've got slightly better properties with the dip film than with the cast film, where you're just casting the film onto the shape, onto the form, or whatever. So, although the post addition of CNT did not give us the required effect, but when we did the pre-addition of the CNT before we did the pre-vulcanization, we have got improvements in the physical properties ranging from 20 to 40%. And we believe that with homogenization, we have getting instances of which we are not yet standardized over up to 50 to 60% improvements in the physical characteristics of the end product. So then we come to some of the products that are of interest. Of course, it's already mentioned that the anti-static gloves are an important application. Roughly 55% of the gloves in the anti-static market are from nitrile rubber, and the balance 45% are from